It's a clapper.
I'm doing it.
Yep. Wait. Let's sit down. I could even I could mute all of this and have the intro song going and then fade up.
Yeah.
Right as I just said that.
Yes.
Like as we're talking right now.
Like when I said fade up.
Bum bum ba dum bum bum. As we all know it goes.
Bling.
Yellow is my favorite color. No, it's not.
Let's try that again.
Purple
is my... Purple is a greeting now. Just as much as yellow is. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to...
This is going really well.
His host it's changed
he hasn't hosted in a while.
I'm going to do that one, so here we go.
I'm down.
Hey, everybody. You got to not laugh, dude.
Sorry.
Yeah. You got to not do that. Hey.
Okay, no.
Hey, everybody. Well,
okay, cool. You can do it.
Cool. So that's what's going to actually be playing. The song is going to be playing right there. Cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to This Podcast Is Not For You. I'm your host, Jake Bennett. Who are you guys sitting with me?
I am Peyton Walker.
My name's Jake.
Oh. Video evidence. How's everybody doing? At the table and abroad.
Abroad?
Sure.
Wow. I'm doing good.
Cool.
Same.
Starting off real hot.
Okay.
Same.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we get together today? We're talking about something. What are we talking about?
We record every Monday, Pete.
Oh. It's Monday? Nice. Cue laugh track? Cool.
Peyton did a bunch of acid in preparation for this episode.
Okay.
Because
no, come on now. Let's be real. I just have orange juice.
Which
is acidic.
Let's be real. I just do acid every day anyway.
It's acidic. We are talking today about taking trips or vacations or getting outside of your bubble and enjoying the world somewhere you don't live.
Right.
Let's say. But we're talking about our favorite ones. Really quickly, because I know a lot of people like to talk about their vacations. Like, this is what a lot of people work all year for. They have 7 paid time off days or 14 paid time off days a year, and they take them all, and it's really important to a lot of people. And we've taken trips together. Mm-hmm. Jake's been around a lot. You've been all over the world.
Mm-hmm. The world.
So
that's how it's pronounced
as
elsewhere.
You might say
the world.
The world. Real quickly, why did you guys want to talk about this? Because this was not my idea. Why did you guys want to talk about this one?
I don't remember who brought this one up.
I think it was a user submission.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
why did you guys want to talk?
What? We'll wait for you to answer.
Like Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
That's right. Over the river.
Yeah. I don't remember who.
I mean, we travel. All of us have traveled a good amount, and I think we all really enjoy travel. There's like a internet culture of travel, which I think is different than actual travel. I think.
What do you mean by that?
There's
What
like
do you mean by that?
There's the Instagram version of traveling where someone's like, oh, I'm like a travel blogger or something, and it's just like them with highly photoshopped pictures somewhere cool.
Yeah.
But then there's people that like actually travel. Like I've got buddies that are doing like really long hiking trails, and they're not posting about it. They're just doing it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think people that really love travel understand like what you can get from it. It's not just about like posting something cool on Instagram. It's one thing that really annoys me on Instagram is like superficial travel stuff. Also, like, how are these people affording to go to these places? Because it's crazy. But
Traveling is expensive.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it seems like they're just all over the place. But also
Well,
being
okay,
from-
so the name of the episode is our favorite trips.
Yeah.
So rather than talk about vacations or just traveling in general, a trip, how would you describe a trip? How would you categorize it?
I mean,
Is it a certain length it has to be?
yeah, I guess. So I guess that's a distinction to make between like people that travel for their job, quote unquote, or are travel bloggers or whatever. They're doing this stuff on Instagram that is annoying or whatever is different than, you know, someone taking a family trip somewhere or
Right.
whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. I think that would be a distinction. Like you're not doing it for your job necessarily.
Okay.
Jake?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think when I first read the outline, I said, yeah, probably defined by going somewhere that you don't normally like, not necessarily visit either, like, because you can go to the same place 3 or 4 times, in a year or whatever. It's still a trip, I guess. It's maybe just visiting somewhere for a very limited amount of time.
Something abnormal.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I would think. Yeah. Regardless of whether it's for work or
That's fair.
pleasure, I guess. Because business trip, right? That's why they call it that. They're like, well, it's just a business trip.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well,
And that's also different
that sounds lame.
than some of the things that I have done for travel have been technically jobs. But
I guess we
there's
can
still a trip that
we
I've
can
taken.
Yeah.
refine it to recreation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that's the confines of our conversation. How about is you're taking a trip for recreational purposes,
Mm-hmm.
let's say.
Okay.
Deal.
Okay?
Shake.
Go.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yep.
I thought it'd be cool to start out with the very first trip memory that you have. So, not acid trip memory, right, Wes?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I wouldn't know. You would.
hold on.
Just took a big gulp of acid.
Liquefied acid. So, what are you guys' the first time you remember going on either a family vacation or being somewhere memorable that you did not live at?
I mean, for me, it's got to be going to California to visit Grandma and Grandpa. Like, because we went almost every summer growing up.
Yeah.
So it's in there as an earliest memory. At a certain point, it gets real blurry. You're not sure what came first, but I think it's probably got to be California. And there's a reason why I moved out there. I always had really fond memories of going out there and visiting the Los Angeles, Orange County area. But yeah, that's got to be the earliest one, I think, for me.
That takes me to the second part of the question. Do you remember it fondly?
Yeah.
Because you could have just as strong a reaction to a bad, like
A bad
negative
trip? A bad acid trip?
acid trip.
Yeah.
Just really bringing it back into the acid.
Uh-huh.
Like a negative reaction to
Right.
the acid.
Yeah,
could.
no, I always had fond memories of California. I can't really think of a negative memory from a trip growing up. I guess the one time everybody wanted to go to Deadwood in our family, and I wanted to go to Devil's Tower,
Yeah.
and I
remember that car
I was
ride.
definitely right to want to go to Devil's
Right.
Tower because Deadwood was
That was the first
really
time.
disappointing.
The first time we realized that Dad could be wrong.
Yeah, that was it. We were 4, and you were 1.
We were 4 and
We
you were 1.
We were 4, and you were 1.
Are you
No,
Legion?
I have no idea how old
We are
were.
Legion.
Yeah. I have no idea how old we were when that. But that I remember being frustrated about very young. It's like, no, I know this is going to be cooler than this town, which
Yeah.
it ended up being super touristy. The town was so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have.
And the last part of that question is, have you gone back to that location as an adult?
I've not gone back to Deadwood.
No.
I refuse. But yeah, I've gone back to California a lot of times, obviously, because our grandparents live there. But
Same.
Jakey?
Yes.
It's your first travel memory, bud.
It depends. So
Are you more than one person, too?
no, I remember.
Depends who you ask.
I remember a trip out west to Montana with my family and my grandparents, but the thing that we went to Florida like when I was really young, and I don't really remember it, but I see pictures of it, and I'm like, yeah, that happened.
It's so interesting. I think it seems like everyone I know went to Florida when they were really young and
Yeah.
didn't remember it. It's
Cause-
always Florida.
because you don't remember when we went to Florida.
I don't,
right?
but we did
I
go.
do remember going.
Wow, he's one of the lucky ones.
I
He
do,
remembers.
yeah.
So yeah, it just depends. Like I see pictures and I know that happened, but I don't remember. I don't really remember. I know we went to SeaWorld.
See World or See the World?
We both.
Okay.
This is a world.
Yes. So
See World in Florida.
yeah.
Okay. So Orlando.
No, we went to Florida and then went to SeaWorld in Georgia,
I think,
Peyton.
I
What do
think
you
it was Orlando.
I think that's where Sea World is.
So maybe this isn't my first trip memory because I don't really remember it. I guess, but I
No,
know
that
that it
counts.
happened.
Even if it's vague, I feel like
Yeah.
that counts.
So it's that one of our Montana trips or a very abstract SeaWorld trip.
All fond memories.
The Montana one is more fond than the other one,
Okay.
but it's not like the other one scarred me. I guess I don't know.
have you been to Montana
So
since?
I was gonna say, have you been to both?
We went to Montana every summer, and then
Really?
when my grandpa died, we stopped going. So it was my dad, my uncles, like my grandpa, it's like everyone, just like either caravan.
Was that your dad's
or-
dad?
Yeah.
He lives up there?
No, we just they loved fly fishing, camping.
Oh, okay.
So that was very much ingrained in. Let's see, Grandpa Bennett died in 4th grade, so every summer until I was 13, I think, 12 or 13. Or no, 4th is like 10, I think.
4th is like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
A lot of different numbers here.
we did that every year, basically, until he died, and then we did not go back. So
Gotcha. And you've been to Florida a bunch of times now.
yes, never to SeaWorld.
Scarred.
But yes, perhaps. Maybe it's something I need to go work through. Why haven't you been back to SeaWorld, Jake? I'm not sure. How does that make you feel? Terrible. I remember now. Ah!
Yeah. So yeah,
I don't
right. It's
know.
all repressed.
Yeah,
Like
I
if
don't
you were
know.
to go, who knows what could happen?
Wow.
So yeah, actually I don't think I've been back to Montana either. So the Pacific Northwest for sure, but not. I don't think I've been back to Montana. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Pate?
For me, it's the Grand Canyon. It's my first memory. I think probably just because of that image is so stark, like against everything else in terms of
It was on a trip to California, I think.
and it's
Made it stand out.
you don't see anything like that anywhere else. Like it really stood out. I obviously didn't appreciate it as much as I would have when I was an adult.
Right.
But I remember just the going to the visitor center and just, you do what you do at the Grand Canyon. You look at it.
Wow.
I remember you almost dying.
Excuse me?
He
I
repressed
remember
it.
you
He
almost
repressed
dying.
it. He repressed it. Don't tell him.
Peyton was a bull in a china closet as a kid.
What?
You were a
For
bull,
those non-Midwesterners out there, can you explain that phrase?
bull in a china closet?
Just kidding.
I've always heard China shop.
Okay.
Yeah. You get it. You know what
You
china
get it.
is, and you know what a bull is.
China.
Closet.
Peyton was
Shop.
Peyton was accident prone as a child, because he was very reckless and fearless.
Still am, baby.
Yep.
The reckless part. I'm scared of everything.
Yeah. He doesn't go outside. At the Grand Canyon, Peyton, at one point, I looked over and there was a railing, not a straight drop off, but there was a couple feet and then it dropped into the canyon. And I looked over and Peyton, his arms were hanging over one of the, rungs of the railing.
You're not going to not hang on.
And
it.
he was swinging back and forth on it, and it scared me. I was like, "Pate, stop it! Stop! No!" And then mom or dad grabbed you and took you off of it because you were very young at the time. And then apparently, I almost got hit by a car at the Grand Canyon when I was a
Okay,
kid. So
Wes was a dolphin in a plate store. And it
he was spinning
crazy.
plates.
It was crazy.
Dolphin spinning plates in a plate
a
store.
dolphin flopping around in a plate store.
For those who aren't from Connecticut, please explain that phrase.
It's clumsy.
Cool.
So we almost both died at the Grand Canyon. Different trips though.
They were different trips?
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
was younger whenever I almost ran out in front of the car.
Classic. You probably hung on a rail too, and you don't even know.
Hey, maybe.
Anyway, you repressed it. Here
Yeah.
we go. I do remember it fondly. I mean, there's not a lot of context there. It's just pretty crazy looking.
Sure.
And I have been back since I was an adult for a very short time. It was an Arizona trip with College Heights. We, on our way to Phoenix, stopped at the Grand Canyon for about an hour and just kind of checked it out again. It seems bigger even as an adult, which is
It's
crazy.
technically
it feels,
bigger.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, but not noticeably, probably.
Right. But yeah, that's one of the things that's surprising to me about that location is
It's growing.
is how much it's growing. But usually, when you're younger, everything seems bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this looks...
But it felt even bigger
Yeah.
as a 25-year-old,
Right.
That's it for me. We can get into the meat of it now.
The meat.
Which are our top trips. It's a list.
Top 3 trips.
Okay.
Top 3 trips.
You're listening to the top 3 trips.
On 94.5 FM. This podcast of you, sponsored by Goodreads, bro.
Nice.
That was pretty good.
It's our first ad.
Goodreads.
Wes, why don't you start us off here
Okay.
with your third favorite
My
trip?
My
let's say.
third. So this is in ascending order, correct?
Yes, we're
All right.
getting down to number 1.
Number 3 for me was in 2015. My buddy Kevin was moving from St. Louis to LA. I had already moved to LA, and was back here in Missouri for a visit of some kind. And whenever he was moving out, we coordinated it beforehand. It was like, hey, just pick me up in Joplin and then we'll ride out together. And I texted him today about it, trying to find out what year it was. I couldn't remember. And immediately we started reminiscing about it because it was just a really fun trip. Drove through the typical Route 44 through New Mexico, Arizona, all of that. And then in California, we got off on a 2-lane road because his brother was stationed at the base the military base in 29 Palms, California. So we kind of took a detour and got on this just 2-lane road through the middle of the desert, and we're blasting music, just windows down, cruising through the desert. There's nobody, and it was just a really, really fun drive. And then I got to go on a military base, which I'd never been on before, and saw a tank. It was really awesome. But yeah, that drive, Kevin and I always talk about every so often. He said him and his wife constantly reference, can you imagine coming across here in a covered wagon?
Nice.
Which is a Mike Walker staple of any
Yeah.
drive. And I'm glad that it's spreading out into the world.
I tried not to say it while you were talking.
You're glad that it's spreading out in the world?
Now I am.
Okay.
Peyton's not happy
When
about
you're
it.
older, you'll understand.
Yeah. But yeah, and he texted me in response to it today. I won My Cows, which I don't know if you've played that
Nice.
game, but if you know the game My Cows, he's apparently very proud of it. I'm glad that you're proud of it, Kevin.
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 Kevin Shable. Shout out Kevin Shable.
Yep.
But
Shove
And what
him
is he
out.
like in relation to you, though?
just my buddy, writing
Okay.
partner.
There it is.
But he's also done something.
He's not my producer anymore.
Okay.
Yep.
Darn.
You heard it here first.
Hi, Kev. But that's
Kevin had to be distinguished from other Kevins by saying my producer at the end. It's kind of a
when I was in college.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I was pretentious. It was bad. Okay.
Jakey
moving
B.
on.
My
Yeah.
producer.
Your third most favorite trip you've ever taken in your whole life, whole wide world life. What is it?
It's probably when we moved west out to California. Probably my third favorite trip.
Which was what year?
14,
Mm-hmm.
as we all know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna put it on mine,
Oh, it's not personal, man.
meant
Don't
to
worry about it.
but I
Hey, man.
decided to save it for the last section of the thing.
So yeah, it was the
Good
I think
point.
it was the first time I ever went to California, and so
I think so.
we just drove out. It was more than just like the drive, because for me it was like we got there, we went to the Grand Canyon, we
Mhm.
went to the tree forest,
Petrified Forest
petrified forest as
and
well,
Painted Desert.
and the Painted Desert, and then
We went out and got to see Interstellar in
we
IMAX.
saw Interstellar and IMAX. We went to the Ducks game.
Mhm.
We
Didn't
Went
go
to
to the
the-
Deadwood.
Didn't go to
No.
Deadwood.
We went to we went to like, whatever the big beaches with the Ferris wheel in California.
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica,
Is that the same trip that we saw
Interstellar and IMAX.
Inherent Vice?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That was cool too.
So it was really cool for me because you lived there. It was like, hey, we're leaving you here.
Mhm.
But for me, it was all kind of one trip. So yeah, it was really fun. It was fun. So
It was a great trip.
yeah, and it was sort of like I don't know, I had this like weird feeling about like
Leaving me there?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was very strange. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah, that was a good one.
yeah.
For me, my third favorite trip of all time was our entire family went to Kauai.
Oh my god! How did I miss that trip? I completely forgot about it.
Must not care about it that much.
No, I do, but I just forgot about it.
Ouch.
It probably still wouldn't be. It probably still wouldn't be in my top 3, but I just can't believe I forgot about it.
Well, you've been more places than me.
That's
So,
true.
For our grandparents' 40th wedding anniversary, I believe.
I think it was 50.
I thought that was that. Okay.
I think that was 50.
And this was going to be 60. This
Yes.
upcoming. Okay. We have a return trip planned at some point. We were going to
allegedly.
so for
It's
our
hard to get
grandparents,
3 families with fully grown children now
full jobs. Yeah.
to get there.
So it was 2010,
10.
I
Mhm.
believe. We all went. So everyone on the Walker side of our family, our immediate family, I guess, my dad's immediate family. So
Mhm.
my dad, his sister, their kids, and
Mhm.
grandparents. So it was.
Rented a house.
We rented a house. We Airbnb'd a house
Mhm.
before it was Airbnb.
Yeah, just I think a timeshare.
We paid full price. But it was. I think it was the perfect choice of island. Like I was still in high school and I believe that you were in early college, probably.
It was
Must have
the
been your
2010.
freshman
it
year.
was the
freshman
summer
year.
after my freshman year of
Yeah.
college.
So we weren't like choosing anything,
Mhm.
obviously. But I'm glad that we went to that island.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot of things that we saw, but also it's just a different feel, I think, than a lot of other places.
It's apparently not as touristy as some of the other Hawaiian islands.
Yeah.
It's much more residential and rural.
Yeah.
Rural.
But I remember
Rural.
those trails that we'd go on, and
Mhm.
then the kayaking and the
We have
Um,
never fought harder
Definitely.
than that kayaking trip. that-
definitely.
It was. We were mad at each other.
Do you
I
have fond
does-
memories?
I have such fond memories of just being absolutely livid with Wes because he was at the front of the kayak and didn't do anything.
Not what happened.
Definitely not. We lost to our female cousin and her mom, our aunt. All right.
It was Mike and Sarah in a canoe or in a kayak, and Bill and Cindy in a kayak.
Was that what that was?
Yes.
We still lost to mom and dad, so I don't know what to tell you.
Old Jerry. in
I
his
don't think mom and
prime.
dad went.
Dude, it's my memory, okay?
Okay.
Here it is again. You did it again on an episode like last season, I think. You were like, "No, you threw up in Lord of the Rings," and he's like, "No, I didn't." Yeah,
It
you
was
remember that?
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
You remember you remembering it wrong, or you remember?
No, I remember doing it last season.
Got you. Okay. Okay.
But anyway, that trip was obviously anybody that knows anything about Hawaii, it's just obviously gorgeous. But
Mhm.
with grandma and grandpa there,
Yeah.
and staying in the house was, and it's kind of a through line in my trips. It's like staying in a house with a bunch of people is really
Yeah.
fun.
You get to swim in that pool,
The Indiana Jones pool.
the Indiana Jones pool.
Yeah.
I got to stand where they shot the reveal scene or the opening scene
Right.
of
Temple of Doom.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
Close.
They shot some Jurassic Park on Kauai as well.
Some of
So-
Lost too.
Whoa.
Anyway, so that was a
So
big
they didn't
one.
know where they were.
Wes,
Yes, that's a
what's your-
documentary.
What's your second favorite trip of all time?
All right.
Wes?
So
It's a Kauai, probably.
no,
I
I was waffling back and forth between this past New Year's and Christmas. I went to Europe with my wife to visit in-laws. We got to go to Switzerland, and this other trip I took to Costa Rica, and I think I'm gonna go with the trip to
Costa
Costa
Rica.
Rica because I got to go for 2 weeks. I did it twice. I took CITs, which are counselors in training, for those of you that don't know, which are like 15, 16-year-old former campers that are training to be counselors. So whenever they turn 18, they can come back and be a counselor at whether it be Walt Whitman, which is where I had worked, or Cobb Kip were the other two camps that I took CITs from on these trips. And we took 2 of them, each 2 weeks. And I think specifically the first one that I went on with the kids from Walt Whitman was really cool. It was really difficult at times because I hadn't really worked that much with kids that age. Most of the kids I had worked with at camps had been 10, 11,
Super
12.
young. Yeah.
And these were like teenagers, full-fledged high school kids,
Full-fledged.
full-fledged, and
Full
all of the
hormones.
problems that come with that.
Yeah.
But it was also really fun just because I got to learn a lot about working with kids that age, and like you can have a full conversation with a 15-year-old that you wouldn't be able to have with a kid that's like 9,
Mhm.
you know? A kid that's 9 is going to be like, "Do you play Minecraft?" And I'm like, "No." "Fortnite?" "No."
Want to see my fidget spinner?
Yeah.
No.
Fortcraft?
But you can have an actual conversation with some kids that are a little bit older. So that was a cool experience. And then just going to Costa Rica was different than any place I had been before, really. And the highlight for me from that trip, actually, none of the kids got to go on it because I can't remember why they weren't able to, but we were supposed to go down to the beach and look for sea turtles going into the ocean at night and look for the nests that they were laying of eggs and cover them up because either people come through and take those eggs or animals will come in and eat them, and it just like endangers the next generation of these sea turtles because they all come to the beach that they were born on to lay their eggs, which is really interesting. But the woman that helped run this like little like nature reserve kind of thing, and I took these electric bikes out to the beach and we're just riding on the beach looking for these tracks of sea turtles and no ambient light whatsoever, so it was just like stars everywhere and riding this electric bike under the stars and then seeing a turtle. We were riding, this woman like screamed, she's like, turtle, 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 and so we just like jump off the bikes and run over, watch the mom go into the water, and then we follow her trail back up the beach to where the eggs are, and we just cover it up with all of these sticks and mark it and protect it. And that was just like, I've never done anything like that before or since. It was a really, really cool experience. And yeah, so yeah, that'd probably be my number 2. It was wild. The second time I went back was also fun. Different group of kids. I didn't have like the previous experience with them like I had with kids at Walt Whitman because I'd worked at Walt Whitman the summer before. So I kind of knew some of these kids a little bit. But the second trip was still fun, just not quite the same. But yeah. And that was in 2018.
Was it really? I feel like it was longer ago than that.
Because Steph and I had just started dating, and then she went to Europe for the summer, and I went to Costa Rica.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Jakey B.
It is.
It was.
The wedding trip.
Nice.
Legendary.
Nice.
Legendary. It was kind of like that was like a crazy 7 weeks because it was like we were on tour out there for 5 weeks before, and then the day after we got back, we flew back out for your wedding. And so
yeah, I couldn't remember if you guys flew or drove.
Yeah, we flew.
Okay.
So it was like land, and at LAX or whatever, and me and Chels, and so it was like our first like trip, just us, and so we just like got a rental car, and I was like, do you want to go to this cool outdoor mall that me and Wes saw Interstellar at? And she's like, sure. And like, because she'd never been to farther than Kansas, she has not been west, before this trip. And so she was like,
those are always special.
I think she went to Denver, but when she was like pretty young, or whatever.
Dang,
and
so close to Florida.
Yeah. So it was like we just
How
got,
is Denver so close to Florida?
we just got in this like rental car, and we went to that outdoor mall and
In Irvine?
yeah, and just played like freaking cornhole, and we were
Nice.
just like, what do you want to do now? And we're like, we don't have to do anything. We can do whatever we want. Like, we have to meet them at the Airbnb at blah blah blah. Until then, we can do whatever we want. So we just like hung around at the outdoor mall, and she was
Made
like,
out.
let's go. No. And she's like, well, can we go to the beach? I was like, we'll do that a different day, and blah blah blah. And so
Like
It
how much
was-
he just missed making out with his girlfriend. I was like,
no.
no.
no,
Absolutely not.
She
We've
was,
never done that.
She was too enamored with California, so
Gotcha.
it was just like,
She's like, I look at your face all the time. I don't need.
yeah, and
Let's get ice cream.
actress, so LA
sure.
and Hollywood, and so then we went to the Airbnb, and then we all stayed there and went to San Diego, and they went to the beach, and the wedding happened, and then we dropped Sean off at this random place, and it was crazy.
So true. I forgot about that.
Like, yes, it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
don't know if I've ever heard of that
it was
moment.
the Sean thing?
No.
It was so crazy. It was like,
I'll also talk about this because it's my number one.
oh, okay.
So Sean's fight was the next day after everyone was already leaving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, or after the Airbnb was already up. So he just had to get another one.
In San Diego because he was flying out of.
Right.
Yeah.
So he got one and we dropped him off. When we were dropping him off, it was just like there's a full family there still. They were just outside.
It was
Like
so strange. We're like,
He just-
bye, Sean.
he just slept on their couch. Like
He was like, I'll see you guys later. And we're like, see ya. And
we
then-
were for sure. We were like, we're never gonna see.
Yeah.
You again.
And Pate went to a baseball game, and then we like, didn't you go to the baseball game?
I did go to.
Yeah.
I went to.
We went to
a Padres game. Yeah.
Me and Chelsea just walked
I didn't know
around
that.
and went to a cat cafe, and then we
And
I
then
got
a couple
free
days
tickets to
later,
that.
we went into LA and hung out with you guys.
Yes.
Right?
I got free tickets to that Padres game because I was just standing in line to get tickets, and he's like, "You want this?" I was like,
talking to me.
"Yeah." So I got a free one.
So yeah,
Wow,
that
put it
whole
in.
trip was really
You go just by
that was
yourself?
Fun.
Mhm.
It was fun.
Cool.
I'll just elaborate a little bit since it's number one for me.
But we're on number 2.
Yeah, but
you gotta save it.
you want me to come back to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Hey, just TBC.
Just you'll see. There's
It's a
be some more
cliffhanger.
deets. Be some more deets.
Skip ahead if you want. Don't
number-
do that though.
Number 2 for me is Phoenix, and I can't remember the year. It was 2017, I believe. 2017 or 2018. It was the trip that I referenced earlier with College Heights. It was basically a missions trip to
Mhm.
Phoenix with an organization called Go 10. It stands for Go Tell Every Nation, and it's basically you're teaching English, but you're also presenting the gospel.
Yeah.
If the opportunity arises. But most of what we were doing is just like service stuff. Like we were going around to people's houses and like just let me backpedal a little bit. Phoenix has a huge refugee population,
Mm.
and that's basically where the emphasis of the trip is on the refugee areas in the population. So not a lot of them speak English, and not a lot of them.
Are they refugees from a specific area or kind of from
There's a
all
lot of
over?
Sudanese. There's a lot of there was a lot of Korea. There was a lot of it's everywhere. I mean,
Okay.
it's all over the place. It's a safe haven city.
Interesting. I did not know that. Why Phoenix? Is it just something that they have?
I think a safe haven city is like an actual term.
Oh, okay.
There's less, I think, laws for integration, or there's less hangups, I think, to get a house or to
Hmm.
And probably more resources for designated
I think
for
it's-
refugees.
right. And I think it's like an interim. That's what safe haven is like. It's you come here until you can get your green card or you can
Yeah.
get your citizenship. I don't know that for sure, so don't quote me on that. I think that's what safe haven.
I'm gonna get canceled.
But
For
anyway,
this,
that was
of all things.
that came at a time in my life when I had been thinking about myself a lot because I just like stopped living the way I was living. Essentially, I was planning on being married. I was planning on starting a family,
We've all been there.
and that didn't happen. And then all of a sudden, I'm, not doing anything, and then
Yeah.
getting in this group of people that are all my age that want to serve people, changed my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I remember you talking about that trip and for a while talking about moving to
if
Phoenix.
if
And
that place was not a nonprofit and I didn't have to fundraise to work, I probably would still be. I'd be
Yeah.
working there.
Hmm.
It was that good. So
cool.
number 1 for you, Wes.
Number one for me.
Number 1.
That's good. Is the very first time I went to Europe. Because I got to go to so many places in one. Wow. Wow.
It was just a bit. It was for the video.
Wow. I didn't do any of that.
I
for
know
your
that.
stuff.
It was a joke. You didn't think
He
of
was
it.
talking about serving other people. Are you really going to do that for serving other people, Wes?
I taught French kids English. Does that count?
And you saved turtles.
That was a different trip.
Still good, though, I guess. Okay.
You save French turtles and teach them English. you let me know. Then I'll stay awake.
Okay. You've been to Europe.
All right. Now we're going to talk about this trip that none of these guys care
No,
about.
I care about it.
We cared
So-
when you got back, for sure. When we heard about it the first 5 or 6 times, dude, we were locked in.
Oh, yeah, now I'm remembering this. Now I'm remembering the preamble to it. Oh, really? You went to Europe?
Wow.
All right, here we go.
Dude, every person that goes abroad like that for the first time definitely becomes obnoxious, and I definitely did for a while.
No.
Yeah. Don't pretend, Jay.
He wore a messenger bag for a while.
And
What
the
does that have to
the
do with-
strap, well, the strap said,
I did that in high
I got
school.
this in Europe. It was weird, but you did it.
So I'd been living in California for a while. Didn't.
That was-
All right. Then I just went to Europe. How about let's move on? Jake, what's your number one?
No. I am the host, and I will bring us back.
Okay.
Wes, I really want to hear about this.
I was living in California for a while. Didn't have. I had a short internship with a company as a post-production assistant editor, and that ended. And and
That was
Road Trip Nation.
Road Trip Nation. Okay.
And when that ended, I kind of didn't have anything else lined up. I didn't want to move into Los Angeles yet. And Kevin told me about a camp that he had worked at in Europe called American Village, which was English immersion for French kids. And they don't pay a lot, but they would essentially pay your way to go to Europe. And so I kind of planned a whole trip around being at this camp for a couple months, like 7 or 8 weeks, I think. And I had a friend that lived in London, a friend that lived in Belgium as well. So I kind of constructed this whole trip, and I got to go to London, and then I went to Paris, then up to Belgium, where I got to see Bruges, Antwerp, and Brussels. That's when I got
Where's
to see
Bruges?
Belgium.
Okay.
And I got to see Muse play in Brussels in the round, which was really cool. And then I got to go while I was at the camp, which was sort of in between Normandy and Brittany on the west coast of France. I got to go to the beaches of Normandy. I got to go to the cemetery that's there. I got to go to a place called Le Mont Saint-Michel, which is my absolute favorite place in the world. It's this town/cathedral on an island off the coast, and the tide comes in and surrounds it every night, and it's just gorgeous. And then I think the other city I got to go to was Rennes, France. And there was this weird festival going on that I still to this day I'm not sure what it was, but it was just like circus tents, even though everyone inside was just like dancing and drinking and stuff, and there weren't like rides or anything. It was just weird and bizarre. But yeah, that trip was eye-opening. I got to see a lot of really, really cool places in a short amount of time. And it was the first time I'd been out of the country, and outside of road trips that we had taken as kids, I hadn't traveled too much yet. I had been to some national parks just because our family had been to a lot of them growing up.
Yeah.
But going abroad was a whole different thing, and I got to just kind of experience it by myself and figure out what kind of traveler I am in terms of when I get to a city, am I going to plan out what I do or just wing it? And I am absolutely just a wing it person. I'll get there, I know of a few things to do, and then I'll just start wandering. I got to spend 3 days by myself in Paris just exploring. I got to go to the Louvre and walk around that for a day, and it was just a really I grew up a lot doing that. And also, it's a notable trip because I found that I loved working at camp and working with kids, and it definitely changed the direction of my life, because when I got back, I was like, I kind of want to just keep working at camps, and that's when I started working in Thousand Pines, and then I ended up meeting my wife there. Like, that trip redirected everything for me, and reprioritized a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's gonna hold a special place in my heart for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
That special place being number 1.
Number 1 on this list for
now.
this podcast.
For
That's
now.
a special place.
For
Yeah.
now.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, what's your
Um,
favorite trip you've ever taken?
When I went to Europe.
Nice. Okay. So,
I can't do the ugh back now because it's just.
did you go to Brussels?
No.
Cool.
Nope.
And that's it. All right, Peyton.
It was
number
fun.
one.
It was a good time.
For real, though.
When I went to Europe.
Italy?
We did go to Italy.
We're just trying to pry answers out of him right now.
It was.
Where'd you go in Europe, Jake?
We landed in Germany,
That's all I'm going to
and
tell you.
then we and then we went to. And I had,
Let's just say we landed in Germany.
one of my really
That's all I can say.
one of
That's all I'm
the
at liberty
funniest
to discuss.
memories.
Memories?
Is, we got pizza in Germany, and it was like, we're sitting there in this foreign country. It was the first thing. My dad had been over in Europe for meetings a lot for like work, and so I was like, just take us. Like, they'll pay for you to take us. Like, why wouldn't we do this? And so he's like, all right, whatever, come along. And so he's kind of familiar, but he's not like an expert by any means, because he usually just goes for meetings and leaves. But this was like a vacation, and we get to this pizza place, and they've condiments on the table or whatever, and no one speaks English, and so I put this salt on my pizza, and I take a bite, and it was actually sugar, and for some strange reason they have sugar with your pizza. So it was the nastiest thing I've ever tasted in my entire life. But I thought it was salt. I was like, yeah, I love salt on pizza. This is insane. It was so crazy. So it's like right at the very beginning, culture shock. Hey, you can't just assume that, and it taught me that when you're traveling, especially if you ever have a chance to go to the bathroom, absolutely do it, because you have to pay to go to the bathroom in a lot of cities over there. And we went to Venice, and my brother proposed, and we went to Innsbruck, and it was fun. It was,
Is that the same trip as Switzerland?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that where's Innsbruck? I don't.
Austria?
Okay.
Yeah. So it was. We rode like a lot of trains. It was really. It was a
Nice.
cool thing that you just, all the countries and the cities are so compact.
Yeah.
It's just something you don't really realize until
You can get anywhere within a couple hours.
Yeah. And so, Chelsea and I are planning our honeymoon, and I was like, well, the upside is if we go somewhere over there, we can go to a lot of places, because once you get there, that's kind of the hardest thing is getting there. So we're just, it was a lot of fun, and, getting to see like my dad like run the show, because he's like over there, and he's like, oh, I've done this before. We're going to have a meeting here, and then we're going to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
we got yelled at in, I think it was France for not knowing English, or for not knowing French. And they were like, you come over here. And we're like, oh, okay. And then we just left. Like, it was a lot of.
Was that in like Paris or something, or just somewhere in France?
I don't think it was a major city. I don't remember. But yeah, so it was.
French are notorious for that, man.
It was really interesting. It was fun. But yeah.
Cool.
And then, and then when you freaking get back, I don't know if they do it every time or if it was just like, did they say it every time?
Mm-hmm.
The guy at customs, like, you come through the airport, you come through customs, and you hand him your passport, and he like looks at it and he stamps it, and he goes, "Welcome home." And you're like, it's insane. It's like, I'll never forget that. He's welcome home.
Yeah.
was
I
like,
don't know if they've done
there's
that
a tear
every
in my
time.
It's like
eye.
the end of Inception every
Yeah.
time you walk back and through customs.
It was so crazy.
I don't know if they do it every time, but they've definitely said it to me a couple times too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm like,
I am home.
I don't live in Philadelphia, but I am home. It's like,
America is my home.
yeah, it's so great.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think the one thing going abroad teaches you too is like,
I know, dude.
oh my God.
I'm just kidding. I have to do it because I'm the only one that hasn't been abroad. So by default, I have to.
You can agree with this or not. It's that, yeah, we'll talk off mic so Peyton can't hear.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I realized that going to Europe, it's not that America does everything better, it's just different. Like, there's certain things that obviously the U.S. does better, in my opinion. But do you feel like some things are just, like, different? It's not necessarily better or worse. And I think sometimes people get into this attitude of when they go over to Europe, it's like everything there is so much better than the U.S. It's like, not necessarily. It's just a different thing. Like, their cities are circles. Like,
They keep sugar on the table.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to pay for bathrooms. You have
Yeah.
to pay for water most of the time in restaurants too.
Yeah, your butt will get washed with water if you poop.
They're so much better. There.
Bidets
Yes.
are a thing. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the biggest thing to me was like, especially in Germany, since it was the first place we went, it was cold in
Yeah.
terms of like the society. Like no one was like interacting with each other. No one was like, they don't emote.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean,
Germany in particular, I
yeah,
noticed
so
that as well.
That was the first thing that I realized was like, oh dang, they're like, you know, I mean, I could be kind of like, I don't know, flamboyant when it comes to like ordering food at places,
Yeah.
or like I'm very much myself, and I'm not gonna be like, oh yes, I would like the pepperoni pizza, please.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that's not gonna be me, and then they're just like,
Yeah.
okay, and then they'll leave, and like, so yeah. But I think the biggest thing that you're kind of another thing like that you're pointing out is like, you know, they don't put ice in their sodas, so it's like if you want a Coke, they give you a can and they give you a glass. And they're
Yeah.
like, here you go, and it's just like, it's so strange, and that's not like better. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Okay.
cool.
This is the thing I got to learn now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So stuff like that where it is just different, but yeah,
Yeah. That's just something I've noticed going over there. It's just like you hear people that do come back from Europe and it's frustrating because it's like, no, it's not necessarily like you don't have to hate the U.S. to love
yeah,
going to Europe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but anyways. Peyton, what's your number one, buddy?
The time that
I-
you got married.
Call back to Jake's number two.
Do you
Oh.
forgive me now for making fun of you about Europe? Okay. Number one.
No,
You
for
wouldn't have got
me,
married if you can go to Europe
that's true. So don't be rolling your eyes, guys.
ever. You would have never got married. You're so freaking lucky.
Dude, if you didn't go to Europe,
You should try to go to Europe
oh,
and see what happens.
well, I don't really want to get married though, right now.
He didn't either.
I didn't
Just
get
something that happens.
I
When you
didn't
go
get
to
married
Europe.
Wes
for,
has
like-
been dripping of desperation for a long time, okay?
I didn't get married for like 4 years after going
Landed
to
in
Europe.
Europe, wanted wife. Anyone?
Please? No, like 3 years later at a camp? Okay.
50 US dollars. My number one trip is the trip to California,
Mm-hmm.
in which of that you were wed.
Eloquent.
Absolutely epic trip.
It was from beginning to end. Just having the whole crew there. I think the big thing was the wedding itself was like the most fun wedding I think I've ever been to.
Mm.
Just everyone was in it that we loved. Like
Yeah.
everyone in the wedding we knew and loved pretty
Mhm.
much. Like, and just the location and the food and the memories, like Dad's famous speech and just
People
Find the-
thinking you were drunk.
people thought I was drunk during the best man speech.
You guys got to play golf.
We get to play
really
golf
cool course.
at the course where you
Yeah.
got
Mhm.
married.
Then all the guys got to hang out and go to San Diego.
Punch
for the
bowl
day.
social.
Mm-hmm.
We bowled, and Jay just slammed the ball into the ground a bunch of times.
There's breaking
Yeah.
bowling alleys everywhere.
If you touch it, you have to.
It tells
Yep.
you if you touch it, you have to. Started there.
Yeah.
yeah, just a lot of really, really good memories. And of course, we dropped Sean off at some place, and we thought he was going to die.
The highlight.
It was insane.
Right.
Yeah. I also remember, like, while you guys were still out there, because my wife and I didn't go on a honeymoon right away.
Yeah.
We were still around. So we met you guys in LA before you guys were leaving, and we hung out in Los Angeles for a day, which was a cool thing to do after the wedding, too. Because I know, obviously, most couples bolt for their honeymoon right after, but we just wanted to save the money at the time, and we're like, let's just hang out here. Our friends are still here.
Yeah.
Let's just go hang out.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun thing. Yeah. I didn't include it on mine because I felt like I couldn't. I was already there, I guess. I don't know.
What a trip for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, going to San
obviously-
Diego, I guess, could
Yeah.
be considered, but
And then
Yeah.
obviously the biggest part of that is you got married. So that's pretty big for me.
Yep. It was pretty big for me too. Probably not as big as it was for you.
It was
but
bigger for me, dude.
I mean, as someone who has a brother that's married, and you will never ever experience that because you will already have been married when he gets married, it is insane.
That's a big deal.
It is really crazy.
Why do you explain?
Dude, it's like, I don't know. And
Maybe if you were a younger brother, man, I don't know.
it's weird. I don't know. It's like to see your original best friend, like, now have someone else. It's just so strange. It's like, it's because it's not like you're twins. It's not like this, we're always joined. It's just like, for as long as you've been there, and like for me, because Peyton's older, as long as we've been there, you guys have been there. It's like an older, it's so strange. And then all of a sudden you go home and you like wake up and then they're like gone. It's wild. So it's not bigger for him, but I'm saying it is really, really crazy.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's like the sibling version of empty nest syndrome.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't birth him, but he's not here for the first time.
Right.
And like, you know, it's so weird. Anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And with that, this has been another episode.
Wait, don't we have a whole section at the bottom there?
We are at an hour.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why I was doing it. I
Oh,
was hoping you were going
okay,
to catch
sorry.
on.
The audio, I'll edit that part out, but the video they'll know. But the audio version, so
Definitely.
we'll just start over, and then the audio people will be like,
When I'm doing this,
"It's so crazy how smooth that episode ended." But the video people will be like, "Really?
That was clunky.
yeah." See, so it'll be great.
Sorry, guys.
Wes
take
doesn't have a
two.
lot of experience with show business. So, speaking
I
of
didn't realize we were at that
text
long.
from Peyton, there we go. With that, hopefully maybe it made you think of some trips that you've taken. Hopefully it will encourage you to go on some more because you will never forget them, a lot of them. So
Maybe change your
and
life.
I think
Maybe.
they are
Maybe we'll get married.
pretty essential to get context for your life. You know, zoom
Yeah.
out a little bit and then zoom back in when you go back into the grind. But I think respites are needed, and no better way to do that than go somewhere you haven't been before.
Yeah.
With people that you love. So this has been another episode of This Podcast Is Not for Splue. And we will see you next week.
I'm Wes.
My name is Jake.
And I'm Jake.